The day Earth's view of the universe changed forever began like any other at NASA's Deep Space Monitoring Station. Sarah Chen, the night shift supervisor, was just about to end her boring 12-hour watch when every alarm in the control room started screaming. "Multiple objects detected," shouted Mike from his workstation. His hands flew across the keyboard as he tried to make sense of the data. They're huge. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands, just appeared at the edge of our solar system. Sarah rushed to his station, her coffee forgotten. The radar screen showed a massive cluster of objects, each one bigger than anything humans had ever built in space. Her first thought was asteroids, but asteroids didn't just appear out of nowhere. And asteroids definitely didn't move in perfect formation. Within hours, every telescope on Earth turned toward the mysterious fleet. Military bases worldwide went to high alert. Fighter jets scrambled into the sky, even though everyone knew they would be useless against ships of that size. The news spread across social media faster than any government could control it. We were no longer alone. The UN Security Council gathered for an emergency meeting. World leaders prepared their war speeches. Everyone expected the worst. An invasion, the end of human civilization. But then something unexpected happened. The aliens asked for help. Their first message was simple: mathematical sequences broadcast on multiple frequencies. Earth scientists quickly figured out it wasn't an attack plan. It was the universal language of math, being used to establish basic communication. Soon, more complex messages followed. Dr. James Wilson, the leading expert in xenolinguistics, worked day and night with his team to understand the alien transmissions. "They're not invaders," he announced to a room full of military and government officials. "They're refugees. Their ships are failing." The alien fleet carried millions of beings, entire families, the surviving population of a distant world. They had fled from some kind of disaster in their home system, using advanced quantum drives to travel vast distances through space. But something about our solar system's unique radiation signature had damaged their engines. Now they were stranded, drifting helplessly, their life support systems slowly running out of power. One of the alien messages included visual data, images from inside their ships. The beings looked nothing like humans had imagined aliens would look. Tall, graceful creatures with iridescent skin and 4 arms. But what struck everyone who saw the images was the fear in their eyes. It was the same look humans had worn during their own disasters and refugee crises. Some things, it seemed, were universal. The world held its breath, waiting to see how Earth's leaders would respond. Attack the helpless aliens. Try to steal their technology. Leave them to drift in space. The debate raged in every country, on every news channel, in every home. But in the end, humanity surprised itself. The first human message to the alien fleet was short and clear: "We will help you." No one knew exactly how they would save millions of stranded aliens with technology far beyond human understanding. The engineering challenges seemed impossible. The cost would be astronomical. The risks were enormous. But as Sarah Chen watched the alien ships on her monitor, now ending yet another shift at the Deep Space Monitoring Station, she felt a strange mix of fear and hope. Humanity had just been pushed onto the galactic stage, not as conquerors or victims, but as rescuers. Whatever happened next would change everything. The greatest engineering challenge in human history was about to begin. The aliens had traveled across the stars only to be saved by a species that had barely reached its own moon. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The rescue clock was ticking. Millions of lives hung in the balance, and humanity had to prove it was ready for its first real test as a spacefaring civilization. The United Nations building in New York had never seen such activity. Representatives from every nation crowded into the main chamber, their voices mixing into a nervous buzz. On the giant screen behind the podium, images of the alien fleet floated like ghost ships against the black of space. General Maria Rodriguez stood before the Security Council, her uniform crisp despite having been awake for 48 hours straight. The aliens have shared more data about their situation, she reported. Their ships run on quantum drive technology that's centuries ahead of anything we have. But ironically, that same advanced technology is now their biggest problem. The room fell silent as she pulled up technical diagrams on the screen. Their drives were designed to work in normal space, but our solar system has unique radiation patterns that their civilization never encountered before. It's like trying to run a modern electric car in the middle of a permanent electromagnetic pulse. And what exactly do they expect us to do about it? Asked the Chinese representative. We can barely reach Mars. They crossed galaxies. Dr. Tom Parker, head of NASA's emergency response team, stepped forward. His casual clothes stood out among the suits and uniforms, but no one cared about protocol anymore. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best one, he said. We might not understand their quantum technology, but we know how to build rockets. Basic, reliable, chemical rockets. Screens around the room showed the first detailed scans of the alien vessels. They were beautiful, like giant silver whales swimming through space. But their elegance hid a desperate situation. Life support systems were failing. Food and water recyclers were breaking down. Nearly 10 million alien refugees had less than 3 months to live. The cost will be astronomical, warned the German representative. We're talking about the biggest space operation in human history. The benefits could be even bigger, countered Dr. Parker. They're offering to share their medical technology. They can cure diseases we thought were impossible to treat. And that's just the beginning. Outside the UN, the world was divided. Protesters filled the streets in every major city. Some demanded that Earth help the aliens, carrying signs that read, "We are all one universe." Others warned of alien tricks and invasion plots. But in research centers and space agencies around the globe, engineers and scientists were already working around the clock. The Japanese Space Agency proposed a way to adapt their H-3 rocket engines for alien ships. SpaceX offered their entire fleet of rockets for the rescue mission. The European Space Agency began converting their launch facilities to produce emergency propulsion units. In orbit, the International Space Station became the central planning hub for the operation. Commander David Chen looked out the station's window at Earth below, remembering how humans had once been divided by borders and wars. Now those same nations were working together to save an alien species. It's not going to be easy, he told his crew during their daily briefing. We need to build and launch more rockets in 3 months than we have in the past decade. We need to train crews to work with alien technology we barely understand. And we need to do it all before their life support fails. But humans had always been at their best when facing impossible challenges. In workshops and factories, new rockets took shape. In simulators and training pools, astronauts prepared for the most difficult spacewalks ever attempted. In laboratories, scientists worked to merge human and alien technology. The aliens watched all this with growing amazement. They had expected to die in the cold of space. Instead, they were witnessing something unprecedented. A young civilization using simple technology and sheer determination to attempt what their advanced society had thought impossible. Time was running out, but for the first time since the alien fleet had appeared, there was hope. Humanity was about to prove that sometimes the simplest solutions required the greatest courage. The Houston Space Center's main engineering lab was a mess of blueprints, coffee cups, and tired engineers. In the center of it all stood Dr. Robert Chan, holding what looked like a child's science project, a simple rocket engine model made from spare parts. Sometimes the best ideas come from the basics, he told the mixed team of human and alien engineers gathered around him. The four-armed alien engineer, whom everyone called Blue due to their shimmering blue skin, leaned forward to examine the model. Through their translator device, Blue spoke, "Our ships were built for elegant quantum mechanics. But your chemical rockets, they are like hitting problems with hammers." There was admiration in their voice, not criticism. The challenge they faced was enormous. The alien ship's quantum drives were completely dead, killed by the solar system's unique radiation. But their hulls weren't designed to handle the raw force of chemical rockets. It would be like attaching jet engines to a sailing ship. They might just tear the whole thing apart. "What if we combine both technologies?" suggested Maya Patel, a young engineer fresh out of college. Everyone turned to look at her. She had been working quietly in the corner for days, studying both human and alien engine designs. Maya walked to the holographic display and pulled up her sketches. "Look, we keep trying to replace their engines completely. But what if we use their existing quantum framework as a shield wrapped around our chemical rockets? Their technology is great at handling energy flow. Ours is great at brute force. Together." Blue's translator crackled with excitement. "Yes, yes, like using your primitive flames to reignite our quantum fields." The alien engineers' all four hands moved rapidly, adding calculations to Maya's design. Within hours, the lab was buzzing with new energy. Teams around the world joined in via video links. Chinese rocket scientists suggested modifications to the fuel mixture. Russian engineers proposed ways to strengthen the connection points. Indian software developers began writing code to help the two technologies work together. In the prototype lab next door, they built the first test unit. It looked strange. A sleek alien quantum housing surrounded by what looked like a regular rocket engine. Many senior engineers shook their heads, saying it would never work. "All new ideas look impossible at first," Dr. Chime reminded them as they prepared for the first test. Everyone watched from behind thick safety glass as the hybrid engine roared to life. The results exceeded all expectations. The quantum field didn't just protect the alien hull from the rocket's force, it amplified it. The combination of technologies created something entirely new, something that could save millions of lives. But they needed more than just one engine. They needed thousands, and they needed them fast. Factories around the world switched to 24-hour production. Car plants started making engine parts. Smartphone manufacturers retooled to produce control circuits. Even toy companies joined in, their plastic molding machines perfect for creating some of the smaller components. In orbit, the first full-scale test was ready. They attached the hybrid engine to a small alien shuttle. Commander Sarah Chen, now transferred from her monitoring station to active duty, watched from the International Space Station as the test began. The shuttle's new engine glowed with an impossible combination of chemical fire and quantum energy. Then it moved smoothly and perfectly, exactly as they had hoped. Blue watched the test results with all four eyes wide. "In all our years of space travel," the alien engineers said, "we never thought to combine technologies this way. We thought ourselves too advanced for such simple solutions." Dr. Chung smiled as he looked at the successful test data. Sometimes the best solutions aren't about being advanced. They're about being creative. He turned to Maya, who was already working on improvements to the design. And sometimes the newest engineer in the room has the best ideas. The hybrid engine was working, but they still needed to build and install thousands more before the alien fleet's life support systems failed. The real work was just beginning. The first wave of human rescue ships looked tiny against the massive alien fleet. 100 spacecraft, carrying the bravest pilots and engineers Earth could gather, approached the stranded vessels. Commander Sarah Chen led the operation from the newly modified International Space Station. "Remember your training," she spoke into the general comm channel. "We have 36 hours to install the hybrid engines on the first group of ships. Every minute counts." Through the rescue fleet's windows, the alien ships were even more impressive up close. Their silver hulls stretched for kilometers, designed to carry entire communities through space. But now these magnificent vessels were powerless, slowly dying in the cold void. Jack Torres, leading engineering team Alpha, made the first contact with his assigned ship. His hand shook slightly as he operated the docking controls. "This is like parking a rowboat next to a cruise ship," he muttered, carefully aligning his small craft with the alien vessel's airlock. The airlock cycled, and for the first time, humans stepped aboard an alien ship, Despite all their training with holograms and simulations, nothing had prepared them for the reality. The corridors were tall and wide, designed for beings larger than humans. The walls pulsed with dying quantum energy, creating beautiful but fading patterns of light. Through their environmental suits cameras, millions watched on Earth as the rescue teams met their first aliens face to face. The alien children especially were fascinated by the humans, following them around and touching their primitive spacesuits with all four hands. "They're just families," Jack reported back, his voice soft with emotion. "Just like us, trying to survive." But the work was challenging. The hybrid engines were heavy, designed on Earth under normal gravity. In space, moving them required perfect coordination between human and alien crew members. One wrong move could damage both the engine and the ship. Maya Patel, now on site to oversee the engine installations, worked with Blue to solve problems as they arose. "The quantum field is weaker here than we expected," she called from inside a maintenance shaft. "We need to adjust the rocket fuel mixture." Teams around the world worked to recalculate the specifications in real time. Every ship was slightly different, requiring unique adjustments. The engineers had to be part mechanics, part scientists, and part artists. Time was running out on some ships faster than others. On the outer edges of the fleet, where the strange solar radiation had hit hardest, life support systems were failing more quickly. Difficult decisions had to be made about which ships to save first. "We can't reach them all in time," Sarah reported grimly to Earth Command. "Some of the outer ships have less than 2 days of life support left." The alien leaders made the choice themselves. They would evacuate the failing ships, crowding their people onto the vessels that could still support life. It meant abandoning ships that had been homes for generations, but survival came first. The human rescue teams worked without rest. When one crew tired, another took their place. They worked in rotating shifts, racing against time and the growing effects of radiation exposure. Jack's team celebrated their first successful engine installation 18 hours into the mission. The hybrid drive glowed with its strange mix of quantum energy and rocket fire, proving that the impossible combination of technologies actually worked in real conditions. "One down," he said, watching the engine's power reading stabilize. 999 to go. On Earth, factories continued producing engines nonstop. More rescue ships were launching every day. The operation was expensive, dangerous, and more complex than anything humanity had ever attempted. But with every successful installation, with every alien child saved, with every small victory, the rescuers felt the same thing. This was humanity's moment to prove itself, not through war or conquest, but through compassion, ingenuity, and the simple desire to help others in need. No one saw the solar storm coming until it was almost too late. Earth's early warning systems detected the massive burst of radiation, just minutes before it hit the rescue zone. Commander Sarah Chen's voice crackled over all emergency channels. "All teams, take immediate shelter. This is not a drill." The storm hit like a wall of invisible fire. Radiation levels spiked to dangerous levels across the rescue area. Jack Torres and his engineering team were caught in the middle of an engine installation, too far from their ship to make it back. "Get to the alien ship," he shouted to his crew. They pushed off from their work platform, using their suit thrusters to propel themselves toward the nearest airlock. The storm was playing havoc with their electronics. Suit systems flickered, and communication channels filled with static. Inside the alien vessel designated as 247, Maya Patel and Blue were monitoring the power systems when everything went dark. The ship's remaining quantum energy fields collapsed under the storm's assault. Emergency lights cast an eerie purple glow through the corridors. "Life support is failing," Blue announced, all four hands moving rapidly over dead control panels. "We have less than 6 hours of air." The situation was critical. 3 human rescue ships had lost power completely. 17 engineering teams were stranded on various alien vessels, and the storm showed no signs of weakening. "Our suits," Maya said suddenly, looking at the environmental readouts. The radiation isn't affecting them as much as the alien technology. It was true. The simple, robust design of human spacesuits was holding up better than the advanced alien systems. Back on the command station, Sarah Chen made a quick decision. All teams, switch to suit power only. Your environmental systems are more resistant to the radiation. Assist any aliens in your vicinity. Their life support is failing faster than ours. What followed was a scene no one had expected. Human rescue workers, in their bulky, primitive spacesuits, began evacuating alien children from the worst-hit sections of their ships. The aliens, with their advanced technology failing around them, had to rely on human equipment to survive. Jack's team converted a cargo bay into an emergency shelter, using their suits' backup power units to maintain a breathable atmosphere. Alien families huddled together, watching in amazement as the humans worked with simple tools and basic equipment to keep them alive. Sometimes older technology is more reliable, Jack told a group of scared alien children through his translator. Look at this. He showed them his suit's manual air pump. No electronics to fail, just good old-fashioned mechanical engineering. Maya and Blue worked frantically to protect the newly installed hybrid engines from the storm. The quantum components were failing, but the chemical rocket parts continued functioning. They needed both to work to save the ships. Your people thought of everything, Blue said, examining the backup mechanical systems Maya had insisted on including in the design. We would have made it all quantum-based, beautiful, efficient, and now useless. Hours passed. The storm raged on. Earth's scientists predicted it would last at least another day. They had to find a way to protect the entire fleet, or all their rescue work would be undone. The solution came from an unexpected source. A young alien child, watching the humans use their suit-powered units, asked a simple question. Why not make big suit? Maya's eyes lit up behind her helmet visor. That's it. We can modify our suit shielding design to protect entire ships. It won't be pretty, but it will work. Blue finished, understanding immediately. Like your hybrid engines, combining the simple with the advanced. They had hours to implement their plan. The lives of millions hung in the balance, but as human and alien crews worked together, using everything from advanced quantum theory to basic welding tools, something remarkable was happening. Two civilizations, one supposedly primitive and one highly advanced, were learning that true survival depended on neither technology alone, but on the wisdom to know when to use which solution. 3 weeks after the solar storm, the alien fleet situation had reached a critical point. In the main conference room of the International Space Station, Maya Patel stood before a holographic display showing hundreds of red warning indicators. We've managed to stabilize most ships using our modified suit shielding, she reported to the assembled human and alien leaders. But we're still losing power faster than we can install the hybrid engines. There's something we're missing. Blue, who had become humanity's primary alien liaison, stepped forward. All 4 of their arms were marked with burn scars from their work during the storm. Our people have done calculations, they said. Even with the current installation rate, we will lose 30% of our ships. The room fell silent. 30% meant millions of deaths. Commander Sarah Chen, who hadn't slept properly in days, refused to accept this outcome. There has to be another way. We've come too far to fail now. Jack Torres, still recovering from radiation exposure during the storm, suddenly sat up straighter. What if we're thinking about this backwards? He asked. Everyone turned to look at him. We're trying to save each ship individually. But what if we connected them? Maya's eyes widened as she understood. Like a circuit, we could link the hybrid engines together. Her hands flew over the holographic controls, modeling the concept. If we create a network of ships, the working engines could help power the ones we haven't reached yet. Blue's translator crackled with excitement. Yes, like our old quantum network, but using your chemical rockets as the power source. It's so simple, it's brilliant. The next 48 hours were a blur of activity. Every available engineer, human and alien, worked to design the connection system. They needed something that could handle both quantum energy and chemical rocket power, something that had never existed before. The solution came from an unexpected place. A group of Japanese engineers, inspired by their bullet train's power distribution system, proposed a modified version that could work in space. Chinese factories immediately began producing the necessary components. Indian software developers created programs to manage the power flow. "It's not elegant," Maya admitted as they installed the first connection between two alien ships. The thick cables looked out of place against the sleek alien hulls. "But it works." And work it did. As each new connection was established, power began flowing through the fleet like blood through veins. Ships that had been days from failure stabilized. The hybrid engines, working together, created a network of energy that sustained the entire fleet. Jack led the team installing the final connection. Through his suit's camera, billions watched on Earth as he made the last weld. "Circuit complete," he reported, his voice tired but proud. The effect was immediate. Across the fleet, quantum fields flickered back to life, supported by the network of hybrid engines. Emergency alarms that had been blaring for weeks finally fell silent. For the first time since arriving in the solar system, the alien fleet was stable. In the ship's nurseries, alien children pressed their hands against windows, watching in wonder as their homes lit up with a combination of quantum glow and rocket fire. Human engineers, floating in their primitive spacesuits, waved back at them. Blue approached Commander Chen on the observation deck. "Your people did the impossible," they said. "You saved us not with advanced technology, but with creativity and determination." "And something else." "What's that?" Sarah asked. "Hope," Blue replied. "You never stopped believing there was a solution, even when we had given up. This is why your species will go far in the galaxy." Maya, monitoring the power readings, smiled as she saw all indicators turn green. The alien fleet was ready to move again, not with their original quantum drives, but with something new, a hybrid system that represented the best of both civilizations. The rescue mission was transforming into something more, a partnership that would change both species forever. As the fleet prepared for its next journey, everyone knew that this was just the beginning. 1 year after the Great Rescue, Earth had changed forever. The sight of massive alien ships in the night sky had become normal. Hundreds of alien families had chosen to stay behind as ambassadors, living in specially built communities around the globe. Dr. Maya Patel stood at her lab window in the new International Space Technology Center, watching an alien ship take off using the hybrid engine she had helped design. Next to her, Blue was teaching a group of human and alien students about quantum mechanics. "The hybrid drive system," Blue explained, using all 4 arms to gesture at the holographic display, "is now the standard for both our species. It proves that the best solution is often a combination of different approaches." The rescue operation had brought unexpected benefits to both civilizations. Alien medical technology had cured diseases that humans had struggled with for centuries. In return, human engineering principles had revolutionized alien spacecraft design, making their ships more resilient and reliable. Commander Sarah Chen, now heading Earth's first interstellar mission program, entered the lab with exciting news. "The colony fleet just sent their first report," she announced. "They've successfully established their new home in the Proxima Centauri system, and they're inviting Earth to establish a joint settlement." Jack Torres, recovered from his radiation exposure and working as chief engineer for the new human-alien space fleet, pulled up the colony's images on the main screen. The alien ships had arranged themselves in a beautiful spiral pattern around their new planet, their hybrid engines glowing with the combined light of quantum energy and rocket fire. "They're calling it Unity Station," Sarah continued. "The first of many joint colonies our species will build together." The news brought smiles to everyone in the lab, but they all knew that the rescue mission's greatest impact wasn't in space. It was on Earth itself. Nations that had once pointed weapons at each other now worked together in the new combined space program. Children from every country grew up learning both human and alien languages. Remember when we thought they were invading? Jack laughed, looking at an old news headline framed on the wall. And now we're building colonies together. Blue's translator hummed with amusement. We thought we were so advanced, looking down on your primitive technology. The universe has a sense of humor sometimes. In orbit, the International Space Station had tripled in size, becoming humanity's primary center for interstellar coordination. Teams of human and alien scientists worked side by side, combining their knowledge to solve new challenges. Mina's original hybrid engine design had evolved into something even more impressive. The latest version could switch seamlessly between quantum and chemical power, adapting to any space conditions. It had become a symbol of what both species could achieve together. The galaxy is changing, Sarah said, looking at a map showing planned exploration routes. Other species are noticing our partnership. They're calling it the Unity Protocol. The idea that different civilizations can be stronger together than apart. A group of alien children ran past the lab, chasing a floating robot they had built using both human and alien parts. Their laughter needed no translation. Neither did the friendship they shared with the human kids who ran alongside them. We saved more than just their fleet that day, Maya reflected, watching the children play. We saved the best parts of both our civilizations, and we created something new. Blue placed one of their 4 hands on her shoulder, a gesture they had learned from humans. And this is just the beginning, they said. Together, there's no limit to what we can achieve. Outside, more ships were taking off, carrying both species toward new adventures and discoveries. The stars that had once seemed so far away now felt within reach. Humanity had taken its place among the spacefaring civilizations, not through war or advanced technology, but through compassion, creativity, and the simple willingness to help others in need. The greatest rescue in human history had become humanity's greatest gift, a future where no species had to face the universe's challenges alone.